Welcome to the Ecom 80/20 podcast, the show for brands looking to compete and win at selling online by building better customer relationships. Hosted by Isaac Hyman and Jaco Rosenberg, co-founders of High Flyer Digital and marketing experts for 7, 8, and 9-figure brands, we'll reveal, discuss, and demystify the secret strategies that the top 1% use to acquire, convert, and retain customers better. Our mission is to help level the playing field and help you build more profitable, predictable, and scalable revenue streams for your business. Let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ecom 80/20 podcast. I'm your host, Jaco Rosenberg, with my partner, Isaac Hyman, and we are here to help businesses work smarter, not harder in the e-commerce space. Thanks so much for joining us again. We're back for now episode 14. We're really psyched about this, and we're moving. Hopefully your Q2 is starting off really well. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today, is how to power your Q2 to be your second best quarter of the year right after the holiday season, because there's so much to do and so much to accomplish in Q2. We hope it's going to be successful for you. So Isaac, why don't we talk a little bit about what your focus should be going into Q2. It's April 7th today. We're on our recording date. It's going to launch a couple of days, but the beginning of Q2 is April, goes all the way till the end of June. Talk to us and the audience about what your marketing focus should be when you enter Q2.
Good point. I mean, Q2 is kind of the, it's not Q1, which is kind of like, not that much going on. And like, you just kind of recuperating from the holiday season. But Q2 is actually a strong month in terms of just, at least from an email, SMS, and CRM point of view. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of campaigns, a lot of holidays. We're talking that, going from Earth Day, if that's relevant for your brand, in some cases, Passover, Easter, you have Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, pre-July 4th, there's a lot. The graduation, oh man, wedding season. I'm riffing now. There's a lot to do, especially from the campaign point of view. And, number one is just get organized with your campaign calendar. You need to kind of project out the next 90 days pretty well and just kind of prepare for the doldrums of summer, right? I guess the dog days of summer. So really capture as much revenue as you can in Q2 to, tide you over for the rest of Q3. That's from the campaign point of view. From a kind of a CRM point of view, I think we can agree that focusing on those customer life cycles, one-time buyer, two-time buyer, three-time buyer, four, if you like that rhyme, keep that going and really focus on those segments because they still have a lot of potential this season, right? We still need to get those holiday one-time buyers who didn't buy again, activated and keep them going. And that's going to be a major goal for Q2. I think those are the two main things to focus on.
So in addition to those two, I think that one of our core strategies is really advising our clients to focus on the data, to really investigate, to learn about your customers, get as much information about them as you possibly can, gather it, study it, learn about it. And that goes into more advanced metrics and analytics. And, we also touched about a CDP, a customer data platform, and more granular information, because you want to make smart decisions in Q2 so that you're preparing the right information for the summer over Q3, but also into holiday season when you got to really, win e-commerce. So as we mentioned before, Q2 is probably your second most important quarter, but you have to do it right. So let's talk about some of the numbers that come up in e-commerce in general, in Q2, but overall, where e-commerce is projected to be in 2023. We read a stat that 22% of the global revenue from global retail will be $740 billion in e-commerce revenue. And 11% of the U.S. revenue is coming from e-commerce. So where do we sit with the Q2 revenue, and how do we get there and help our customers get there?
So Q2, I definitely think that, again, most of your revenue will come from your existing customers. There's a lot of focus on acquisition and a lot of focus on getting more leads coming in, and that's super important. But in order to really maximize the potential and profit of your customers, you really need to focus on your best customers and win back the ones that you've lost and really kind of nurture the ones that you have. The one-time buyers are there's so much room for opportunity just to get them from 1 to 2. Like you mentioned the CDP, I could give an example of how important that is. You know, and back when I was working at this major electronics retailer, they sold very high margin product, not a hard margin, high revenue products, very costly. About average price point was maybe like $500-600. And what they saw is that obviously if you get a customer who's buying a camera or a MacBook or a computer, they're great in terms of revenue. But what they found is that the one-time buyers would buy, let's say, usually something small, it'll be like a flash drive, and their worth would be like 50 bucks. So yet growing them into a second purchase grew their value by 6 times. So 6x their value. So we're talking now that they're worth $300 and on and on. If we got them to a third purchase, they grew even more. So, you know, it's about focusing on your life cycles and making sure your customers are growing with you, not like just growing by themselves. You want to grow up with them. So that's really been the major focus, and that's really how the top brands will get there. Not to mention the fact that it's really profitable. I think right now everyone's kind of wondering how Facebook ads are performing, how Google is going to perform. If you're selling on Amazon, Amazon has their own retail media network, if you will. So there's a lot of other places to advertise that, you know, you kind of will spend your entire budget without seeing the best return possible. So you really want to focus on your best customers. That's probably how you get there for the most part.
So those best customers you mentioned before were coming from where? I think you mentioned holiday shoppers, or where would they typically be?
The best customers usually are, you know, the ones who've been with you at least 2-time buyers, right? You want to focus on those 2-3-time buyers. The holiday buyers, we both know that, I think the stats were 74% of customers are one-time buyers for pretty much every brand. I mean, we just got off the phone with someone who was with our client who was telling about, yeah, I've got a problem. I only have one-time buyers, you know, and that's always been a challenge for our brand. Yeah, it's a challenge for every brand.
Yeah.
But even worse is out of those 74%, 80% of those buyers came in at a discount during the holidays. So you're kind of really, you'd be lucky to break even with those buyers, and it's great. You make your money, you know, you turn you're from red to black, but you know, you really need to focus on getting them to do more. And it's really not that hard. You know, a simple accessory, even if it's a $10 item, it doesn't have to be a $500 item. Person that bought let's give another example, a person who bought a makeup set may not go out and buy a makeup table or whatever it is. I don't know what they call a vanity table, right?
Sure.
Even if you get them to buy that
two
makeup
guys
set
here.
again, or you buy another, like, yeah, I know, maybe I don't know all that area as well, but like, you know, we have a client that's in that hair care and beauty, but right, if you buy a hair care product and then they buy some, you know, makeup supplies, that's great. You don't need them to buy this whole massive amount of product. You just need them to trust you and buy from you one more time. Start there and then build up until the next one, and then the next one, and that's it. Then the lifetime value grows significantly.
Because once you get them to a second purchase, that brand loyalty really sticks around. I mean, it really does. I mean, I know from my own shopping experiences that once I know that a company is going to do right by me, they're going to get it to me fast. And I'm not even talking about shopping on Amazon. I'm talking about shopping on an e-commerce website, that once I know I'm going to get the products in time with the right price, with, you know, the products that I'm looking for and always having it, I'm going to go back to them. You know, my kids' shoes, we have one website that we keep going back to, not Zappos. That's pretty much owned by Amazon at this point. But there are great sneakers out there, and you know, maybe we'll reach out to them. But they do really great, have really great products, really great sale offers, and you know, I'll just keep going back to them because I know I'm going to get the top quality, the top brands, and the ones that we're looking for. And you know, you have that trust after you made that second purchase. The second purchase is really the kicker. It's not the first. First is usually a price purchase. It's finding the best value. But that second purchase is really where you start building up that trust.
Yeah, and I'll go 2 steps further. Also, is that number one, like you just said, you bought it. You know, you maybe look for an offer from them. customers that trust you a lot more will pay full price. They are like, I trust you. If you say it's new and it's great and you're the expert because I bought it from you for a while, I will come back to you. So, that opportunity to get off discount shopping is so important because there's only so many times you can discount a product for your existing customers before you become a Slick Deals or some other kind of affiliate.
Right.
So that's one. And then the second part that brands should also focus on, at least the ones that are brick and mortar, is it doesn't have to be a customer who bought online should buy online again. There are many times if they buy online and buy in store, their lifetime value also jumps. So those who are listening that are brick and mortar should really take a good hard look at their omni-channel customers, people who buy in both places.
Right, and getting them to shop
So
in both
important.
places, also the value that you can
Yeah.
get out of them and the value you can offer them really goes a long way.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so the next thing that we wanted to just touch on here was let's talk about our strategy when it comes to e-commerce in Q2, right? What is it that we as High Flyer Digital, what do we like to offer? What do we like to tell our clients to really focus on? Aside from the one-time to two-time, multiple-time buyers, but talk about our strategy when it comes to spending the next 3 months really analyzing analytics and all that as well.
Oh yeah, that's so important, right? You had a good month. Technically, you should have done a lot of this in Q1, right? You got to look at your data. That's what we recommended. Kind of start setting your foundation and making sure you're audited it and the reporting and analytics is all set up, right? How many clients
of course
have done
they
that?
did, right?
I'm sure we can count on our fingers.
Of course they did.
Not everyone.
But, they didn't. So now they're thinking about it because they didn't and they need to.
Yeah, exactly. And some brands are very diligent about it, some not. Okay. But I think in month 4, 5, and 6, we break it down into what our goals are for each month as part of our 12-month comprehensive, high flyer roadmap. So month 4 is all focused on CRM, right? It's kind of like, let's track our migrations. Let's track our one-time buyers and how many are growing into two-time. Let's track how many non-buyers are growing into one-time buyers. Let's track how many buyers have churned, right? Things like that. That's tracking that. You also want to track out what automations can help tag these customers to identify them and learn from them. Think about a cross-channel strategy to get them kind of like and maximize their value. That's the whole point of the CRM. It's to maximize their value. So you may want to investigate things like email, SMS, 2 different channels, in-store, offline, right, type of things. And then just really focus on what automations you need to build to maximize their lifetime value. In this case, we have a client who's about ready to turn on replenishment, right? You bought one item, let's replenish it. We have another client that's looking to turn on, a much more comprehensive post-purchase strategy. So that's all in month 4. All this customer lifetime value, how do we grow it? That's month 4. Month 5 is now where we focus on automations 2.0, this is where you come in, and if you're more on the technical side, where you start focusing on how do we get the automations that we built already in January or last year, how do we improve them, and how do we kind of like enhance them? So one area of enhancement is transactional emails. I think that's really low-hanging fruit for a lot of brands. They don't really focus on monetizing their transactional emails enough, and there's a lot of opportunity there.
So what does that mean? Go into that a little bit into a little detail with that. I mean, obviously, a transactional email we know is, or for those who don't know, is a thank you for your purchase. Here's your order details, shipping information, order confirmation. But how do you monetize those emails? I mean, those are typical Shopify or WooCommerce emails or BigCommerce, wherever it is that you're coming from. But talk about monetizing those for a second.
Sure. So some people will shout at us and say like, oh no, you can't do that with transactional emails. It's transactional. You can't do anything. But what I've learned is that, a transactional email, for some people, let's say it's an email that's triggered by an action. Okay, if you want to go technical. Some people say a transactional email is just something that you do when you place an order. But just to drill it down as if I'm talking to a 2-year-old, which I tend to talk to myself like that, is, this is an email a customer expects to receive. And if they open an account, they expect to receive an email. They expect something, right? That doesn't mean you can't recommend something within that email. There's no, look at Nordstrom. Best Buy, Sephora, Wayfair, all of them at the bottom of their emails, of their transactional emails, and I've ordered from all of them, all have recommended items that they think you'll love. That is an example of monetizing a transactional email. Another example, we have a client who's pushing out about 5 minutes after the order is confirmed, a post-purchase survey. Take our survey. We're dying to know how your shopping experience was. And that email drives a lot of revenue,
Really?
surprisingly.
A reviews email
Yeah.
drives revenue?
A survey email. Yeah. How do we do? Right. Just, click the smiley face, either frown or the kind of the middle guy,
Right.
neutral, and then like the happy guy, and take a 2-question survey. And what happens? They come back to the site. Oh, I forgot this. I forgot that. Or, you know what? I was interested in this. And I'm going to come back to it, or I'll do it later in the day. But they come back and they fill it out and they feel engaged. And that's a transactional email. And it makes a lot of money. So you can do a lot with those transactional emails. In-store pickup, come in for your store. When you're in here, show this to the receptionist or whoever and get a $5 coupon off your next in-store purchase. Beautiful. What's not to love? So I think that's a massive opportunity for a lot of brands. And I think they kind of don't leverage it enough.
Very cool. Okay. Now what's month 6?
Yeah.
We're in June already.
And month 6, June, you got to continue. I know we tend to dedicate a quarter for testing for most of our clients. We dedicate a good amount of time to test everything because you got to get it out of the way. You want to kind of not wait till the last minute or wait till September or October to start testing when you're in holiday season. But month 6 is a great time to start some A/B testing, subject line testing, creative testing, segmentation testing. Any test you think you have, run it now. Run it out. Dedicate the whole month, because it's not May where you're going to sacrifice revenue necessarily, which I don't think you will anyway. But it's just a good month to really start testing, and as opposed to the summer when people go away. Was that the old finance term, right? Sell in May, go away. Back in my
spend that money in the summer.
My Merrill Lynch days, that's what it was, right? Rest in peace, Merrill Lynch. So yes, sell in May, go away, and then A/B testing. Yeah, just test everything, right? Just put that roadmap together and say, in June we'll test that, in July we'll test a lot more, August we'll test even more if need be, and then by the holiday season you're ready to go.
Right, because June is more of a slower campaigns month, right? You're talking about not too many offers, not too many opportunities there. I mean, Father's Day, but every day, as two men are speaking of this podcast, every day is Father's Day. Should be Father's Day. No, but it's graduation season, it's holiday season, but it's wedding season, but it's not too many campaign levels. So you have a great opportunity to test during those campaigns and see what works and what doesn't, so that you can prepare better for Q3 and into Q4. That's some great insights.
And it also,
go ahead.
It also goes beyond the campaigns. Like you can actually, if you're testing if you're testing a cart abandon, you can actually run it for 3 months if you want to wait that long, 2 months even, and then look at the results in August, and you have some good learnings, right? You've let it run for a good period of time and you checked back in. It's not like you waited, like a campaign, you do a one-off send and you look at the results and you do it again, fine. But automations, all the automations you can set up for testing and get the learnings in and put the winner, and you're good for the holiday season. So
nice.
Automations too.
Nice. Would you say that that out of the 3 months, which one is the projected to be, obviously depending on the industry, but which month would you say is the most expected revenue? Would you say it's April, May, or June in Q2?
Oh, definitely May. Definitely May is a great revenue driving month. Number one, it's a long month. You got 31 days, and April, right? Is that the song?
31.
So 31 days, and you have a bunch of holidays in there that and seasons, just seasonalities in there that play a role. Memorial Day is huge. I think it's maybe second or third after Black Friday. It's that weekend. It's Memorial Day and or Labor Day, I think so.
Yeah, because I mean, especially with some of the brands that we work with, they're outdoor type brands, and getting people outside. The warm weather is really taking taking that opportunity and running with it, literally
Exactly.
running with it, because May is where that weather really starts to turn. April can still be a little bit cold on most of the country, but May the weather really starts to turn, and people are starting to go outside,
Right.
especially with our outdoor client. They'd like to really be pushing people outside off the couch and into the outdoors. So that's really where May is going to be that highest revenue month. Right.
Yeah, it's great for summer, and you're ending spring, and you have a good holiday season. You're furnishing your deck. At least I am furnishing your deck with stuff. Yeah, if you're going out and riding your bike,
Yeah.
you want to kind of have a lot more accoutrements, if you will, for your riding. And everyone just decides if you start getting to June, all right, it may be too late, but May is usually a great month.
Awesome. So if you could share one more insight, we're coming up on time. If you could share one more insight or a few more insights about the trends of e-commerce in general for Q2 and over the next couple of months, where you see things, what new things might be coming on the horizon that we can share with our audience today.
Sure. I think for some brands, and we talked about this earlier also, some brands are developing their own retail media network, which is pretty much, if you're big enough, you can charge the brands you sell, at least retailers, you can charge the brands you sell. You can charge them money to be featured in your email, on your website. That's starting to grow really fast. There's actually a major source of revenue for some companies. Obviously, Amazon has the biggest one, right? You think about it, you're telling vendors like Sephora or whoever else is selling on Amazon to pay for ads on their platform. So that's a retail media network. A lot of retailers are starting to investigate that and do that. That's definitely something you want to consider getting into motion if you can, because once the holiday season hits, you'll be in a really good position to start monetizing your vendors.
Right.
So that's good. That's a good
you mentioned
and also
selling ad space in your email, like a banner, or just a product. What are you referring to?
Yeah, well, you have both. Like, you can, at least what our end, if you're an email marketing, the top brands sell space within their emails because they have 2 million, 5 million email subscribers, and they send an email out. That's a good lot of exposure for that brand, and obviously that's direct response, so they'll click right through and buy. So it's a really good opportunity to, for the brand to get some extra dollars to fund their email program,
of course,
and then also sell ad space on their website. And not everyone wants to do that. It's very complicated. You really need to investigate if that's worth it, but it's a growing trend. It's a growing trend. So consider it. There's that. And then on the flip side, I am hearing that I've heard that Etsy has started raising prices, and they're starting to question, whether or not they can get more money out of their sellers. So really investigating how you want to go direct to consumer is really important. I think that's
getting off those platforms like Amazon, Etsy,
further right. Yeah, you see, selling on a platform like Amazon. I think Amazon, there was a survey taken. I got to dig that up. Maybe remind me for the next one. Amazon, there was a survey that small businesses are really afraid of Amazon now, and maybe it's starting to dawn on them now that they're fearful that Amazon will take over everything about their business, and that we've only been saying that for 2 years already.
Yeah.
Like, get it out of the way. Now they're starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe there's some wisdom here. And Etsy raised their prices, so now you have two major platforms, one for our artisans, one for everyone, that are starting to raise prices and trying to get more dollars out of their sellers. And that means can mean an exodus and brands trying to get direct to consumer, which means they need to build a database.
All right, that's less money in the sellers' pockets if they're selling on these platforms anyway, and now if they're raising prices, and just even less. So yeah, we have a couple of clients that are
keep an eye
on those platforms and just trying to get off and build up their e-commerce direct to consumer on their own websites. So definitely that should be a trend for sure. Get off those big platforms. It's one of our taglines. Stop. Don't worry about competing with Amazon. Don't try to compete with Amazon. Get off of Amazon so that you can get more revenue from your products and from your services that you sell as well. So
Yeah.
So last minute ideas for your number one campaign. Let's just say you put out number one campaign. We spoke a little bit about it before, but number one campaign for Q2, what would you say it should be? If you could sell one campaign, one email to a prospect, what would it be?
One email, I would definitely say start focus on a customer appreciation week. Do that because that solves a lot of things. That lets you appreciate the customers you have, give them an offer to go from one buyer to two-time buyer. And the non-buyers who see this feel like, oh, okay, in order to be upgraded to like a valuable customer, I need to buy something, right? So that's kind of where I've seen a lot of success with that. And it's a great time because when they start upgrading now, depending how often they buy again, they'll be totally ready to buy again during the holiday season. So now you got 2 purchases out of them this year at the very minimum, right? So that I feel that's been a great campaign to throw in there, probably maybe in June, or even to compete with Prime Day, right, in mid-July or August. So
Yeah.
Customer Appreciation Week is a great one to run out.
Great. Thanks so much. That was a lot of really good insights. And just to sum up, today we talked about the Q2 process, what we recommend to our clients, what we see on the forecast, a lot of campaigns in May, towards the beginning of June, a lot of monetization there, a lot of money to be made, a lot of revenue to be made. So this has been another episode of the Ecom 80/20 podcast. I'm your host, Jakob Rosenberg, with my partner, Isaac Hyman, and we help e-commerce businesses work smarter, not harder. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys. Thanks for listening to the Ecom 80/20 podcast. If you enjoyed this show, please make sure to subscribe and follow us on social at Highflyer Digital for daily tips, content, and videos. To put this week's strategy into action and move your brand forward, go to highflyerdigital.com/book and schedule a free 15-minute chat with Isaac and Jakob. Let's partner together to compete and win at e-commerce. Your brand is worth it. Until next week, this is Isaac and Jakob wishing you a successful and profitable week.